go. That's right.
How you doing, everybody? Thank you for being here. And I feel kind of lonely over here by myself. But today we're going to talk about sustainability in surfing. And I was just wondering, Tiago, why do you think there's such a connection between sustainability and surfing?
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I just think surfing as a sport and as a lifestyle, it's just as close as you can get with sustainability. And we are just using the energy of the waves to do what we do. It's some kind of connection with nature, so there's no one else in the middle, so it's as sustainable as you can get. So I think in one way it's our job to keep the line, you know, in terms of being on the crest of sustainability, and it's part of what we do every day. It's our job pretty much.
I know that there is different types of machines they have to generate power from the waves. Do they have any of that going on in the Azores, or do you know if they're doing any of that here in Portugal at all?
I know it's close to Peniche, on the north coast of Peniche, in front of, I think it's Almagrera, between Almagrera and Belgas. We got, it's kind of an experience. It's the first place in Portugal where they are like developing the right device to use the power of the waves, and obviously to get some clean energy from it.
That's definitely helping be sustainable through the waves, through what we do. Anastasia, what is the biggest fear you see for surfing over the next 5 years?
Yeah, I mean, I think the main thing is really just taking care of the beaches, and I think a lot of the more rural places in different countries that maybe don't have as strong as access to the internet and really know the reality of, you know, the trash issue and the waste issue. And so I think that's kind of the biggest risk, is that not so much the more popular places, is the places you don't see necessarily, that the people and the locals who live there, that necessarily they don't know, you know, even or have the means or resources to even get a proper infrastructure to keep the beaches clean. So
more of a social situation.
Yeah.
And more of a, there is no waste management.
Right, like
they don't care about the trash. They're worried about putting food on the table.
Right, or they're not even, you know, conscious or aware. And I think it's our responsibility for places that have the infrastructure and have the resources to kind of go there and bring our knowledge to them.
Andrew, what do you think the connection is, or are there connections between extreme sports and technology?
You know, what do you mean, like the connection between like what's riding like a big wave and the technology we're using, or
even tools to monitor the waves, or what we do with our life on social media, or how we monetize what we do?
I feel that as surfers, I think we're kind of a little bit behind on the technology stuff. You know, like just for example, like measuring waves or knowing how fast I go on a surfboard, you know, those sort of things. I don't think we're sort of really using technology, you know, like we're not actually using like fact. A lot of it's like personal opinion, which, so I feel like we're a little bit behind.
I know that, like for our careers, most of it's social media, and you go to try and get a sponsor, and the first thing you look at, how many followers you have, you're like, that's what I'm worth, how many followers I have.
Yeah, you know, that's like the marketing, I suppose, within us as athletes, you know, like, you know, that is really important, and, you know, how you're sort of creating your own personal brand, and you're putting it out there, and, and the social media sort of things, you know, that is really important, and that's important because not only can you, you know, get other sponsors through that, but it's you also, you know, you're putting out a message to everyone else, which we can talk about obviously our surfing, but we can also talk about the environment and put out that message to reach those people and make a change.
For me, it's always a challenge. Like if I'm going to be on social media, I want it to be fun, and sometimes I'm trying to figure something out and it's not that fun, and you just want to disregard it. But then when you can share something with meaning, with purpose, then it really makes a difference, and that really feels good. We do use the internet to monitor the waves, and we are freaks. We check it. It only changes twice a day. We check it 5-10 times a day, the same report. And we see these big storms generated from when we're watching for Portugal, we're looking at New York and Iceland, and 7 days ahead we see them coming, but they're still so unstable, so we got to keep a close eye on them. And because of the internet and the technology that we have to monitor the waves, we can monitor them like a hawk all the way till they get here. It's funny, in the Pacific Ocean, we know what's coming 7 days ahead, and 90% what is on the map is going to show up here. The day before the swell hits, it changes. We can be on a plane from Hawaii, swell's on in 2 days, land in New York, and it all changes, and you fly back home. It's the craziest thing ever. It's the most challenging place in the world, the most unstable weather systems I've ever encountered here. Building a brand, surfers often have to do it with ourselves. We have nowadays with technology, and if you don't have the big sponsors that are building you up all day long, you kind of got to do it yourself. How do you guys do it, if you do it at all, building your own brand or building your own awareness? Tiago.
Yeah, I believe in the end
and
of
you
the day,
haven't. Tiago is the guy who brought surfing to Portugal, if you don't know, and he has an amazing surf shop in Ericeira, and he's definitely beyond a brand, a legend, hero.
Yeah, definitely, we are role models, and we are giving an example to others. Especially the younger ones are looking up to us. And for me, in my perspective, I think just being professional from the beginning till the end of the day, looking people in the eyes and be honest and just give out your example of a sportsman, of a professional sportsman, and try to do the best you can all the time. That just builds up you as an athlete, and if you're doing something good, your career and your brand will start growing behind you. But as an athlete, you cannot be looking and thinking about building a brand. You're thinking about training, you're thinking about your opponent, thinking about your next wave, your next event, thinking about points and judges all the time. But the brand factor, it's growing behind you. And of course, being like a professional athlete and serious about the job helps you, because people give you credit. But then if you kind of disregard the other part of an athlete and what an athlete needs to do in terms of nutrition, in terms of rest, and technical wise as well, your brand kind of stops. Everything stops. So it's a very interesting lifestyle, and I do believe we are giving out great examples, and the future generations of surfers are going to be more competitive and more even greater ambassadors. So
I can imagine growing up here where surfing was kind of frowned upon when you started. There wasn't too many surfers, right? It wasn't looked at as a career or a job.
Not at all.
Must have been very challenging. But you just did it for passion, not thinking of it as a career, or were you thinking of it as a career?
Pursuing a dream that I had as a kid, and looking at magazines and some of the movies that I got to see here, which there weren't many. And then this idea of being one of the best in the world and being on the competitive scene, it was completely almost nonsense over here in Portugal. So results build your way up, and after a little bit, not too long, I was competing amongst the best in the world. So everything can change very fast.
You're definitely an inspiring story of what you've accomplished. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Cody, whether in the ocean or on the land or wherever, what was the most scared you've ever been?
The most scared I've ever been? I don't know, come up here.
Nightclub.
Nerve-wracking, isn't it? I kind of like every time when you go into the sea and the waves are big, it's it can be scary. Like the ocean's a scary place. Like whether it's 1 foot, 20 foot, or 100 foot. But it's good to try and sort of like embrace that fear. I don't know. There's two sort of it's good to have fear, but you don't really want to be scared. Does that make sense?
Fear keeps you focused.
Yeah, fear keeps you like focused and you're on point. But if you're scared, then you might make a stupid decision. Like you won't act. So it's a fine balance. So I think I embrace the fear, but I try not to get scared. If that makes sense.
Hugo, you've been toying around with a pretty cool new product and doing a lot of different things with your career since you're probably the biggest wave ever caught in the world. There was the fish that got away, but everybody who's there says it was the biggest thing they've ever seen. And it was, so what can a startup founder kind of learn from you as a surfer, as an athlete?
Yes, I think we are on the perfect position as surfers and people that like to keep the ocean protected. We are in the perfect position to aware people that maybe the environment is like, actually the pollution is not just like an environmental problem, it's more than that, a social problem, because there are people that don't even think about the environment, they don't have time, they are surviving, they are fighting for life, they are fighting to feed their child. But we are on a privileged position, and especially we as surfers, obviously that it's an honor to be involved in projects like the one that I am now. I'm involved in a startup that we are developing a product that's going to consist in get garbage from the ocean. We are expecting to take in 3 years 20,000 tons of ocean plastic, transform that ocean plastic in a device. The device is for a simple use. It's just for everybody that loves the ocean and uses the ocean, everybody that wears a wetsuit, they can wear a wetsuit and save water at the same time. For you to see the impact of this little thing, the little object that will make surfers' life easier, we are expecting in save around 31,000 Olympic swimming pools in 1 year of drinkable water. For you to see, each swimming pool has 2.5 million liters of water. So it's a big thing because now it's the environment and the pollution, but really in a soon future, on a close future, we're going to have water problems and countries going to have wars because of the water. So yeah, it's joined two beautiful things, which is clean the oceans and save water in the future. So it's a blessing to be part of this kind of projects and to be in this position.
What do you think that you've been able to share with them to get them inspired to pursue this project?
Yeah, when I was invited, they were really amped that they were going to build something that was going to save water. But my condition to be part of it is okay. You're going to save water, but the compromise is you got to take plastic from the ocean and just use recycle.
So you shared that with them.
That was or yes or no. If yes, I go in. If no, I'm out. So,
amazing.
And make all the difference, on the decision. So
that's so cool. You've had an amazing career, Anastasia, in and out of the water, and I just wondered if there's something, a defining moment or a way of doing things or something that you would chalk your success up to.
Yeah, I think we all have up on stage here very interesting backstories of tales about being, having these dreams and aspirations to achieve either catching a big wave, exploring a new location. For me, it was growing up that female surfing wasn't a cool thing. As probably we know, is in Portugal, surfing wasn't as big of a sport as it is now, and even big waves. This was all foreign ideas and thoughts and dreams, and oh, you're crazy, you're going to be a professional surfer and make a career. And I think it's always just kind of as cliche as, working really hard and not letting things getting me down. I mean, there was many points in my career competing where I would travel around the world, spend so much money, get to an event and lose first round. And I wanted to give up. I would cry for hours and be like, I'm going to lose my sponsors and how am I going to do this? And I just, for whatever reason, I just saw that bigger level picture and knew that for me, I wanted to be able to inspire people one day to do their goals and live their dreams. And I just had that fire to keep going. And I think that was just the overall theme that really, eventually people started watching and people started listening. And for every 5 contests I do bad in, I do okay in one and then win another one. And it would be that kind of motivation. So I think for me, it was really just taking anything that could be negative, like getting discouraged or losing, and trying to reunite that fire to keep going. So it was definitely for me, it wasn't a sprint. It was a marathon in my career. And I think it's something like I think now a lot of days too, and what we've all seen, we've all been surfing our whole lives, is like, things take time and hard work and dedication. And eventually, you can be the first tour surfer from Portugal, or catch the biggest waves in the world, or be a female surfer who can inspire young girls. So I think it's really cool and exciting to see, even though we're all from different places and we all have this common bond of surfing, but the backstories of how we got right here on this stage and being able to share this message with all you guys is all pretty similar.
I had the pleasure of towing Anastasia into some waves a long time ago, and she wanted every bit of it. And you should come to Nazaré and get some waves with us.
I know. That could be my next goal and dream.
How's the forecast for the next few days is a question from the audience. There are 3 big swells over 60 feet. The 7th evening, the 7th evening,
8th in the morning.
8th morning, the 9th, and then on the 12th, all over 60 feet. So definitely, the wind isn't right, but you'll be able to see the size. And there'll probably be a few surfers out. Probably not us, yeah? The wind doesn't.
I don't know. It's good. If it's looking
you're
good.
feeling better now.
Thursday morning, if it's looking good, I'm going for it for sure.
Andrew Cotton suffered a horrendous wipeout last year. He jumped off the waveland on me, shot up like a human cannonball, probably higher than anybody's ever flown from the power of the lip exploding him. Broke his back. He was a plumber, then lifeguard and plumber at the same time, and now he's basically the pride of London, surfing for Queen and Country. And are you ready to come back? And what do you credit your career, and how do you the goal setting, or how do you get where you're at from plumber to
big wave surfer?
Pride of London.
It's like Anastasia sort of says, really, that sort of, I don't know whether it's just like never giving up or just being stubborn, and wanting something so much that you're going to do it no matter what.
You ever done any goal setting, writing things down?
Yeah, I think, like when I, met you back in 2010 and seeing your sort of dedication and how you were achieving things, inspired me to do that as well. And I think it definitely did, like when I wrote down, on that scrap of paper in Nazaré in 2010, I wrote down, at that point I was still a plumber and far from a professional surfer, and I wrote down 10 goals, and pretty much 4 years later I haven't done a lot of them, but I've definitely done a few of them. So
got a couple more up your sleeve?
The top one is still yet to be done. So but it's going to be there. And if I keep doing what I would like doing and having fun, and I think I'll get there one day.
How long ago was the injury? Was it over a year, or is it just?
It's actually, the injury, I broke my back, actually, and that's why I think I might surf on Thursday morning, actually, because it was a year ago on Thursday.
Wow.
That I broke my back, 10 o'clock.
1 year later, broken back, he's already back and ready for more.
Yeah.
So what day and what time are you going to be surfing?
So 10
Come
o'clock.
on down.
10 o'clock on Thursday morning. it'd be good to get a 60-footer, if not bigger.
I remember when we first got to Portugal, Tiago and the boys came down one day, and the waves were like the best, biggest and gnarliest it's been in the corner there. And you were I was so stoked that you showed up, and we had so much fun. What do you think about Nazaré and what it's done for the country, or is it? I know that you brought surfing here, and then it seems like different things have transpired from there.
No, definitely Nazaré is a case study, and you were a big part of it, probably responsible for it. I remember you the first time you came, and actually I remember a lot of guys from the big wave scene coming to Nazaré, watching it big, and a lot of them who actually came back now were like looking at the waves and going like, nah, it's not worth it. The risk, and the benefit, it's not worth it. So they just left, And you stayed here, you stayed the whole winter, and get to know Nazaré a bit better, the mechanics of the wave, of the spot. Before you stepped in, Nazaré was just like a big wave spot, but for no users of motors, of jet skis, just like to paddle and get some big barrels near the sand, near the shore. And now, after you did what you did, like catching the biggest wave of the world, it's just stepped in on the scene of the biggest wave spot on the earth. It's just amazing that, of course, we had a lot of sessions, smaller days over there, but none of them would go to history, go out there and make history. So it's definitely a case study. It's definitely a very special place where you can feel nature and the power of the nature very close. It's kind of like almost a spiritual place because you're so close to the power of nature, the power of waves, You almost every time you go there, you think, why are we not using this power to produce energy, because it's so strong. And it's a beautiful town. It's definitely worth going out, checking out. And it's an amazing place.
I hear that, don't quote me on this, but I think Portugal is 51% of your energy is sustainable that you guys are utilizing for the whole country. It's only 10 million people, but still 51%.
Yeah, Portugal is...
Yeah, it is. Actually, in Portugal, we got like loads of aeolic windmills, windmills to create energy. In the Azores, we are using the power of the ocean and the geothermic power, the power from the volcanoes as well. So I think that's more than proof that nature provides us everything to make the change, and the energy, the most pure energy in the end is the most clean one. So we don't need to burn nothing. We just need to use what the nature sends us, the winds, the waves, the lava from the volcanoes, and use it wisely on a good way. So everything is there. We just need to look at it on a positive way and start using it and, go further. Because like this, if we keep going like this, the future is not so bright as it looks. But in the end, we got to look to these problems as like with positivity, because it doesn't matter to look to the environmental problems like a depressive thing. Okay, this is part of the nature because we are part of the nature and we create the problem. So because we are part of the nature, if we create, we're going to be able to solve it as well. So everything is in our hands in the end.
Andrew, what would you like to see utilized with technology to make a change to be more sustainable or to eliminate plastic somehow? Or do you see any solutions that could help us with technology and the challenges we're facing in the world?
I don't know, like it said, like harnessing like the power of the ocean, and I think they are doing that, a lot more now. And like, you just got to, one wave in Nazaré, like how much power can that give you,
Probably all of Lisbon.
Yeah.
Or all of Portugal.
Yeah. So it's like working things out on how you can do that.
How we can harness the power of the waves.
Yeah. And just the ocean moving, it's, especially as surfers, we know how much energy is in the sea, and it's how you can harness that and use it to
It's just coming up with the technology.
Yeah.
You know, that's the most difficult part, coming up with the technology of generate energy from the ocean, from the waves. I think the power is there. The machinery and the technology, it's probably not up to date yet, not the best one yet. So all the techs out there, there's a big challenge for you.
I think we have my favorite question, very controversial and interesting. And you being the seasoned veteran, I actually was really intrigued and liked it, the wave pools. And I thought, okay, if the waves are bad, then put in the wave pool and have kind of a side-by-side thing. Prefer to use it in the ocean. But if there's no waves, then go to the wave pool, especially for the Olympics coming up. Then I watched the event recently, and it was just like so repetitious, and the scores were so close, and it wasn't very natural, and there was no fight for the wave, and there was no excitement of who's going to get the better wave.
Yeah.
What do you see the benefits of wave pools, or where do you like what you're seeing? Do you think it's a good direction for the sport?
I think there's two sides of it. In one side, you're bringing surfing to other places that you'll never be able to live it, like interior part of countries, you know, colder places, whatever, you know, like where you don't have an ocean, and you can bring this amazing sport and amazing lifestyle. I wouldn't say bringing lifestyle, because in a wave pool you're not really being like a normal surfer, but at least you can enjoy the feeling of surfing. But on the other side, we are kind of like moving away from the magic of being in the ocean, you know, in the relation between us human beings and the ocean, and all this relation that we build up through many years. We can lose it if we go all swimming pool. So in one way, I would rather see professional surfing stayed like always in the ocean, because, you know, there's the fear factor, there's the mystery factor. Is the wave going to come? And then there's the tactical part as well. Being smart, you know, knowing how to read a wave. You're going to lose all that on a pool. So I'm more leaning towards how the things were all the time.
I think for sustainability and to have warriors of the planet, we need to embed the youth, especially everybody. Everybody is so impressionable, and everybody, once they go into the ocean or once they go hiking or get off the phone and get in the environment, then they have a much better chance of embracing it and loving it. And have you thought of any ways to inspire the youth to be more passionate about the world and the challenges we're facing, rather than just sitting on these phones and computers?
Yeah, nowadays it's different. It's difficult to take that thing from the kids, but I think they like the magic of the ocean. There is so many unknown things. There are so beautiful things that happen in the ocean, especially when you start to see the ocean like underwater. And especially for the kids, they create like a magic world of their own. And it's really easy to influence them. You just need to show them what's underneath. And after they see it like once, they're going to create that magical world, and they will protect that magical world until they die. I know that for sure, because I experienced that with many kids that I've been with, you know, in schools, in surf camps and whatever. They embrace it. They really embrace it, because for them it's a magical world as it is for us, you know.
I think it would be really amazing to utilize technology to get off technology and utilize technology to inspire everybody to care about the planet. So that's your guys' job. Let's figure out how to utilize technology to get off technology, and figure out how to inspire the youth, the world, everybody to take care of Mother Earth and nurture her. And it's not a matter of the world will be here or not. It's a matter of if we will. And so we all got to do our part. And I really like to challenge all you guys to help out. And thank you, Kari. Thank you, and thank you. You guys are all so awesome.
Thanks, Garrett.
Thank you.
Thank you.